What are you gonna say? You gonna stay or no?
That you're not gonna bring anything else that I don't know about, are you?
I'm trying to bring everything from inside me. And if I find something what I want to bring, I will bring it.
Julia isn't making any promises. She can't promise Brandon that there aren't any more deep, dark secrets that might still be revealed. In fact, ominously, she says, going forward, I want everything to be out in the open, even if that means hurting you. But, as it turns out, shockingly, Brandon isn't the only one that's battling with Julia this week.
Earlier today, you were there.
I'm not there. I'm not there. I saw Miss Brandon right there.
Yeah.
I'm not even there when this happened.
I don't need to be yelled at by you.
Enough.
You just know it's bad when even the resort therapists have to step in to calm things down. Up until now, they've been more than happy to let things play out. So what is it that's got Ari so worked up? Why is she so furious at Julia? Well, before we get to that, let's rewind to the start. So the last we saw Julia and Brandon, she'd just broken the news that even while they were applying for her K1 visa, she'd been kissing her ex-boyfriend and considering getting back together with him. And understandably, when we join them in this episode, Brandon is left questioning everything.
After something like this, I don't know if we can come back from it. But if I run away now, I think it could be the end of us, yeah.
Now, for as hurt as Brandon is, and he is very hurt, he is at least mature enough to stay and talk about their problems, which is better than some.
You know, you had a real one.
So after a night of reflection, a night spent in separate tents, the following morning, the therapist pulls them to one side to help them begin working through Julia's massive reveal. Now, Brandon kicks off the conversation by saying, I don't know why you ever had to tell me that, Julia. Couldn't you have just kept that to yourself? Wouldn't it have been better just to let it go?
And it's something she felt she needed to get off her chest, which I can understand, but at the same time, is that selfish or is it selfish for me to just not want to know?
I kind of see both sides here. Like, Julia says that she couldn't keep living with this secret. She wants to be completely truthful with him. But at the same time, it is ancient history. The cheating happened before they were married. Like, I'm divided. I think maybe this has done more harm than good. Now, that's not to say that one day the truth might not have come out and been even worse. And of course, her own guilty conscience may have been eating away at her. But at the same time, I completely get why Brandon didn't want to know. I'm torn. Like, I can see both arguments. I'd love to know how you feel about this. Let me know in the comments. Either way, the therapist then goes on to ask, what motivated your sudden revelation, Julia?
Sounds like it was just to hurt me, because what, I didn't share something.
I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to relieve what I feel. I'm trying to relieve what is hurting me.
Does that change anything for you? Does that change the way you see things? Maybe for me it does a little bit. Like, if Julia came clean with the motivation to try and strengthen their marriage, well, that's one thing, right? But if she's doing it for her own relief, if she's doing it knowing that it's going to hurt Brandon but she's going to feel better, well, that is selfish, isn't it? I don't know. Like, of course, honesty is always the best policy, but there are some nuances to that. Sometimes if it's actually going to do more damage than good, is it not better to keep your mouth shut? Well, Julia, it's taken a while, but now she thinks not. In fact, she goes on to say she can't move forward in the relationship if there are still lies between them. I have to leave my past here in therapy. I need to draw a line in the sand so that I can move forward, she says. But the problem is, for Brandon, it's not quite that easy.
You're the only safe space I have here and the only thing I know. And for trying to want to feel like I want to push you away, it makes all this harder.
Brandon explains that he struggles to express himself at the best of times, even when they're alone. So doing it now, in front of a bunch of people, in front of a camera crew and millions of people watching at home, doesn't come naturally to me, he says. It is a real struggle for him, and we've seen that even before Julia's confession rocked his world. Julia has been his rock throughout therapy. So losing her support has just made a hard situation even tougher for him. Now, the truth is, even if he can get past and forgive her mistake, working on all the rest of their problems, the problems that led them to come to the resort in the first place, will now be much tougher for Brandon. I mean, just look at him. He looks devastated. He looks defeated. But despite the outward appearance, surprisingly, the therapist is actually quite happy with his reaction.
The night before, totally going into shutdown. When he starts to cry, there's a part of me that feels a relief because I know he's getting somewhere now. He's finally breaking through.
Showing some emotion, right, is better than being distant and withdrawn. It's a sign that Brandon might finally be ready to deal with the anger and the hurt that he's feeling. Now, does that mean that he can move forward without knowing the whole story? Well, he thinks so. He thinks he can, but it is going to take him some time.
But I'm just sore at the moment because it's so fresh.
Sure.
It's a fresh wound now, and I just feel like it's going to take time for these feelings to go.
That's completely fair, right? The cheating may have happened years ago, but he's only found out about it now. So it is fresh for him. He will need time to process everything and work through it. Now, Julia, quite annoyingly in my opinion, wants to know how this isn't gonna forevermore be held against her. How can I be sure that you won't bring this up in future fights? Or, in fact, how can we make big life decisions, like having kids, if this is still going to linger over us? And while she raises some good points, okay, and the truth is they can't, not while there's all these doubts now surrounding their relationship, it also feels very rushed of her, very presumptuous of her, to now be like, I cheated, but forgive me, you can never mention it ever again. That is going to take time, surely. But Julia doesn't seem to appreciate that. She wants it all done and dusted, finished, forevermore, right now.
Can we leave all of this? Can we say everything what we feel and leave everything here?
I'm gonna try. That's all I can do, right?
Look, the very fact that Brandon does want to try should be a massive win for Julia. I mean, the guy has literally only just discovered that she betrayed his trust. She's looked him in the eyes for all these years, all the while hiding something from him. You can understand, I'm sorry, I've seen a lot of comments saying it was only a kiss, right? But you can understand why he's left questioning the very character of the person he thought he knew. But he is still here. He is still trying. So asking more of him, pushing him to do something he's not ready to do just yet, is kind of unfair. Now, Julia wants him to commit to staying. Just stay at the resort. Let's work through this, she asks. But Brandon, before he can give her an answer, wants one thing from her too.
What are you gonna say? You gonna stay or no?
That you're not gonna bring anything else that I don't know about, are you?
I try to bring everything from inside me. And if I find something what I want to bring, I will bring it.
Brandon wants to know, understandably, he wants reassurances that he's not going to be blindsided again. Now, the fact that Julia can't promise that is worrying. What else is she hiding that's just waiting to explode in their faces? And more to the point, will their relationship be able to survive the next one? For a man whose trust has just been broken, that must be scary for Brandon. But again, he is willing to fight for their marriage. Now, back at camp, what with all the drama and arguments that have been going on? What with all the anger that's surrounding everyone at the moment? Ari is feeling very tense and stressed out.
What's going on over here?
So much yelling. I'm sorry,
So it's clear.
I'm losing my everybody's, I'm like, I can't handle it.
Now, I've covered all the drama and screaming in my other videos this week, so if you've missed them, I'll leave links at the end of this video. But it's safe to say that all of this drama has left Ari very tense. This whole experience, the resort in general, hasn't exactly been a success for her and Binny. And while they did actually spend last night in the same tent together, they haven't really been able to communicate, and Ari has now reached her limit. Now, thankfully, on the agenda for therapy today is a screaming exercise, an exercise that aims to scream to help them relieve their tension. That sounds like it could be perfect for Ari right now, right? Well, no, it actually turns out to be her worst nightmare.
No, I don't want to scream. I've just been listening to people scream all day. My anxiety is already at an all-time high.
And even after the scream, right? After the scream came some breathing exercises designed to help calm everyone down. But even they didn't do the job. Ari just couldn't take it anymore. Like this is completely overwhelming for her. So she fled. She literally ran off, leaving the rest of the cast completely bemused and confused. Is it me? Is it something that I've done? Asks Binny. And while he seems at least a little bit worried about his wife, that's more than can be said for the rest of the group. They're a lot less empathetic.
Ari, what she want?
Not enough attention.
Yeah, I'm tired of this.
That seems quite unkind to me. Look, the women in this cast, in general, have been great at supporting one another. But when it comes to Ari, I can't help but feel that's not quite the same. They don't seem to have that same rapport, that same connection, or even like towards her. Even as she seems to be having a panic attack, everyone writes it off as Ari just wanting more attention. It feels a bit mean-spirited, like every single one of these cast members have had their dramatic moments, haven't they? And when they did, other cast members supported them anyway. But not for Ari, it seems. But at least there is one guy, Binny, who thinks he knows exactly how to handle this situation.
My experience with like Ari just is better just leave it just on alone. And even if you feel better when she's calm down, and then we can talk to her.
Now, keep in mind, Ari has constantly asked Binny to show her more compassion and affection. So you have to laugh. You have to laugh that his answer to his wife being upset is just to leave her alone. Yeah, he hasn't taken in anything from this retreat, has he? Now, eventually, Ari does come back, but that doesn't mean that she's happy. She feels alone. She feels very alienated. Why is it that all the other guys get called out for their bullshit, but no one stands up for me, she asks. Why is it that they seem to reward Binny's bad behaviour?
You guys all, especially Julia, constantly. He's
He's
doing this on
not
purpose.
dog for his like reward his behavior or
No,
not
you
reward
need
his
constant male attention, and I'm sure you see that.
Wow, shots fired. Ari goes from being angry at everyone for rewarding Binny's behaviour to now directing all of that anger specifically at Julia because Ari feels that Julia is constantly vying for male attention. She even turns to Brandon to try and get his support on this. And interestingly, while Brandon doesn't agree with her, he doesn't necessarily contradict her either. He just stays silent. He wisely tries to keep himself out of this. But that doesn't stop Ari. She continues to push forward.
Earlier today, you were there.
I'm not there. I'm not there. I saw Miss Brandon right there.
Yeah.
I'm not even there when
I
this
don't need
happened.
to, I don't need to be yelled at by you.
Enough.
Now, to be fair, right, Julia wasn't part of drama with all the other couples because at the time she was busy doing therapy with Brandon. We saw that, right? So in this specific instance, Julia is innocent, but you can see why Ari is suspicious about Julia. I mean, she has got very cozy with Binny during this retreat, and that must make Ari's blood boil.
Give it to me just your hand. And then wait. That's it. Okay, wait, 1, 2, 3.
You can kind of understand it, right? Like doing tricks, dancing, all the things he refuses to do with his wife. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm certain that Julia doesn't mean anything by it, right? There's no underhand flirtatious hanky-panky going on. It's all just friendship and fun. But it's also friendship and fun that, crucially, he doesn't have with Ari. She's been desperate for attention from him, but he's been giving it to other people. And I think that has now left Ari at her breaking point.
I don't like conflict, and I've been with someone in constant conflict for 5 years. I just need a break from conflict. I don't want to hear anyone yell. I don't want to fight with anybody. I need a break from it.
For someone who hates conflict so much, Ari is often the source of that conflict. She is often the one who starts the fights, isn't she? I guess both things can be true. You can hate conflict, but also start it. And yet, what's far less confusing, what is crystal clear, is that Ari is now at her breaking point. This is actually quite difficult to watch. Now, the therapist comforts her and tells her to go and take a break. But once again, Binny is nowhere to be seen. He decides he's not gonna go after her. He's not gonna check in on her. And in doing so, it looks like he's checked out of this marriage. I mean, he's all too happy to just leave his wife alone in that state. No checking in on her, no looking to help. He's just left her. And I think it's not going to be long until he also leaves this marriage, is it?